In their article, Stone, Romero, and Rasopa make the argument that researchers often commit the fallacy of affirming the consequent when they are talking about the results of their mediation analysis. Basically, what this fallacy means is that people are making an incorrect conclusion based on some premises. So when we are thinking about logic, we have two premises, and if they hold true, there is a conclusion that necessarily follows from that. And when we make an incorrect conclusion that does not necessarily follow from that, we have committed a fallacy. And so to illustrate, we have an example here. First, I'm going to read the actual syllogism, and then I'm going to read it with a realistic example so we can see where it goes wrong. So, premise 1, if A is true, then B is also true. Premise 2, B happens to be true. The conclusion that necessarily follows, we believe, is that A is also true. Okay, so when we make this conclusion, we're actually wrong. To illustrate, let's think about Washington and Seattle, and let's make premise 1, if I'm in Seattle, then I'm in the state of Washington. That's the truth, right? Premise 2, I happen to be in the state of Washington. Conclusion, then I'm in Seattle. Therefore, I must be in Seattle. Does that conclusion naturally follow? Well, it really doesn't, because there are other ways, obviously, to be in Washington than to just be in Seattle. So this is an incorrect inference. It doesn't have to be. We could be in Seattle. But since there are many other ways to be in the state of Washington than just in Seattle, it's an incorrect conclusion because it doesn't necessarily follow from the premises. It's not always true. It can be true sometimes, but not every single time. So this is just a little preview of why mediation is difficult and challenging, because remember a couple slides ago we talked about all of the different models that are also consistent with our proposed mediation model. So we can get the same pattern of B weights, but that particular pattern of B weights is also consistent with 5 different models. So on in the next section, I will explain how affirming the consequent applies to mediation analysis.